Alright, so I'm going to review the premiere of Preacher. And I gotta say, it was very interesting because, one, I'm not the biggest fan of this comic book series. I'm not the biggest fan of this comic book series to begin with. And it's not because, I think that it's garbage. I don't think that at all. I understand it's a very well written comic. It's one of Garth Ennis's best work. Right up there with his Punisher Max run and several other things he's done. But it's for me, it's a taste thing. And I'm not saying, I'm above this. No, I'm just not a fan of this comic. I know there's a huge fan base behind Preacher, but I'm not the biggest fan of Preacher. I tried Preacher, just wasn't for me. So reviewing this TV show, this TV pilot, is going to be interesting to say the least. If anyone out there who's a huge fan of Preacher, the comic book series, no disrespect to anyone. It's just that I tried reading Preacher, I couldn't get into it, and it just wasn't for me. It was more of a taste thing than, it just wasn't vibing with me, you know what I mean? So that was kind of the big thing. It's nothing against Preacher fans, it just wasn't for me. I'm not saying this comic book shit. I thought it was nicely well written, but by the end of it, I was just like, yeah, I'm just not feeling it for me. It's just not doing anything for me. That was my big thing. So again, reviewing this pilot is going to be interesting, to say the least. So yeah. Ooh, lordy, lordy, lordy. So this is the hour and a half premiere of Preacher. The thing with this premiere is that I think it was trying to, even though it had an extra 30 minutes behind it, I feel like it was still trying to do way too much in way too little time. Like, we got to show this alien entity who's possessing people, possessing religious figures. We got to show, Jesse Custer going around and losing his faith in Texas because it's goddamn Texas. Yeah, like they give you. From what I've read of Preacher, from what I remember of reading of Preacher, I don't know if Garth Ennis just really hates Texas, or if he's painting a really good picture of like a small community in Texas. Because even though I don't live in Texas, I used to live in one of those said small communities, and I was getting like horrible flashbacks I was like getting Vietnam War veteran flashbacks to living in that small town, even though again I wasn't in Texas. I lived in a town for a good chunk of my life until I recently moved out to a more urban area. That was a lot like this. Like I would see this shit on a daily basis. So yeah, I don't know if Garth Ennis grew up in a town like that, or he just really just does not like Texas. I don't know. Anyway, so getting back to this with the actors, especially the actors playing Cassidy and Tulip, they are awesome. And not to say, not to discredit at all Dominic Cooper's performance as Jesse. I really thought he was great. I thought he was just fantastic. He really knows how to play the worn-out, beat-down kind of character. And I kept thinking to myself, man, this was a screenplay and it's being produced by Seth Rogen? Seth Rogen was behind this? Like, the production behind this is really well done, and there's really good writing in here. The action is very fluid, especially that airplane scene with Cassidy fighting those holy knights or whatever. But that's the thing, is that this was, again, it kind of falls back to, it's trying to play too much. We gotta introduce Tulip. We gotta introduce Cassidy. We gotta introduce Arseface. We gotta introduce such and such. They were trying to introduce everyone but the kitchen sink. They were trying to throw everything into this pilot as much as they could, and tried to be like, look, here's everything. Don't you love Preacher? Here's everything. So yeah, I feel like if you could cut out at least one story and save it for another episode, I feel like that could have made everything a little more fluid, because it just felt almost jarring at some points. But not to say that was bad. It was just jarring for me that I was trying to do a little too much in too little time. Even though, yeah, it was an hour and a half long premiere, I still felt like, man, this feels cluttered as all hell. But still, I really did enjoy, especially Tulip and Cassidy's actors, the actors playing them, and of course Dominic Cooper was awesome as Jesse Custer. And The actor playing Arseface, he was pretty good. The one thing is that even though he looks pretty messed up, he doesn't exactly look as messed up as he did in the original comic. He doesn't look as messed up as Arseface did in the comics, so it's a little tame. It's a little tamer, but still, it's a little nasty. Here's the thing I remember about Preacher. This is the thing I remember about Preacher from reading the comic. It's a darkly optimistic comic. It's a very dark. It's like one of the more optimistic things Garth Ennis has done. Like in its own sick way. It's it can be optimistic, but in its own like brutal and bloody way. And it's not like with The Boys, where as my friend Pop Culture Diva once said after reading all 10 volumes of The Boys, she said I needed to read like Golden Age Superman and all that because it just really wanted me. It really wanted me to kill myself. It really made me want to kill myself, or even like burn all my other comics. So she was literally that was Pop Culture Diva 42's big introduction. No, she had read a lot of Garth Ennis, but she just marathoned all the volumes to The Boys, and I know that's going to be a show on Starz, and I think also Seth Rogen's behind that as well. So that's going to be an interesting experience. But no, this was pretty good. AMC has been, does very quality work, and this is no different. The action in here is very fluid. So is the acting. The three best, like I've said before, Jesse, Dominic Cooper, and Ruth Negga as Tulip. Yeah, I think that's the one. That's the actress playing Tulip, and I forget the actor playing Cassidy. But yeah, if you get a drunk Irish vampire on your show, you've instantly got my my attention. Anyway, so I'm wondering if we're going to see the other characters later on down the road. I might stick with this show a little longer. It might, maybe it'll be, maybe this can, do some stuff that that'll get me keep me hooked in, or I may drop it. I don't know. I don't think I'll be doing episode reviews of Preacher because again, I didn't read very far into the comics, so I don't think I would be the right guy to do reviews of Preacher with all of this behind it. But still, I do recommend it, but it's definitely a taste thing because there are some very anti-religious moments in here, but it's a little more optimistic. Not totally screw you God and all that. It's a bit more optimistic, at least at the start. With all AMC shows, especially if you'll watch Walking Dead and all that shit, then you'll know, this optimism ain't gonna last long. But all in all, I really did enjoy it. It's a pretty good show. Not much else to say about it, honestly. But yeah, I'm gonna. So, what did you guys think? Especially the people out there who have read Preacher, the diehard Preacher comic fans. What did you guys think of this premiere of the TV show? Did you guys like it? Did you guys hate it? Just comment below, let me know. And once again, hope you all enjoyed this, and I will see you guys later.